What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Gold Label store exclusive figures. So we will be having a Walmart and Target exclusive figure. So first up we have two Batman characters, so two characters from the Bat family. So first we have the vampire version of Nightwing. So awesome to finally get him since he is a big part of that storyline. So it looks like Nightwing we've had before, just more of a vampire face, some blood on his outfit, and comes with some cool accessories, especially a heart. And then we get Batgirl, the Cassandra Cain version of Batgirl, which looks cool. So just love that design. Getting another member of the Bat family that we haven't had before is really cool. So we get those two. And then behind them we have two Flash characters. So first off we have the Walmart exclusive Wally West Flash. So he took over as Flash, we kind of talked about before with the crisis on him from the nurse. So he took over as Flash, so that is him in that. And then we have the Rival, which is like an evil version of Jay Garrick. So he kind of dresses up the same, and I'll go in the story of who he actually is, but he was a villain of the Jay Garrick version of Flash, and that was a Target exclusive. So it's cool we got these around the same time, where we have the two Walmart exclusives of Nightwing and the Flash, and then the Rival and Cassandra Cain were Target exclusives. So all four of these look cool, and it's also cool how they kind of fit together with two Bat family, two Flash characters. So very cool figures overall, so I'm excited to check them out. So let me get them out of the box and we'll take a look at them together. And I'm going to start off with Vampire Nightwing from DC vs. Vampires. Of course, this is Dick Grayson, and he gets bitten by a vampire during a fight and goes on to kill Mary, Queen of the Vampires, allowing him to become the King of the Vampires. But he keeps it hidden with the goal to take over the world with vampires. But when the Bat family gets closer to discovering who the leader is, Nightwing reveals himself by punching Batman through the chest and ripping out his heart. So very vicious there, but we get Nightwing as the vampire, which looks cool. And like all the other figures we've had as the vampire version, looks relatively exactly the same. So we get the same body we've had before multiple times, just with the vampire head on him now, so we can see the vampire like face there of Nightwing. So I love how those like skin's all sunken and not looking too good there, but he still has his mask around his eyes and his vampire teeth on there, so the nice sharp fangs with some blood around his mouth and some blood that's run down on his shirt. So on his Nightwing logo he's got some blood on there as well. His hair's all sort of up in the air and messed up, so it looks like a little bit of chaos going on there. But as I said, the rest of the body is going to be the same as we've had before. So with the past Nightwing bodies, just with the darker blue color Nightwing logo on his chest, and then he does have claws on his hands, so his fingers have now become like claw-like. But I like the blue there on him as well, adding a little bit of detail to that. So overall looks pretty good, but looks just like the other Nightwing, so we really just get the different head. But moon-wise, we get that'll twist all the way around. Can look down that far and up that far, so not a whole lot of movement in there. The shoulders come up to 90, of course have that like butterfly joint, and can rotate around. We get the bicep twist and the double elbow joint that can bend up pretty much there all the way up on itself, so that's good. With the wrist that'll twist around, and of course on the ball joint can hinge back and forth. Then we go to the ab crunch, so we get the cutout just under the chest here, so crunch back and forth a little and can twist all the way around. And then we go down to the waist where it'll crunch back and forth, so good crunching with that, so forward and back, and can twist around at the waist there as well. Then the hips can come up if you force it there up to 90 and out to the side. Should be close to doing the splits. That's about as far as I can get it to go though. Pretty much no thigh twist, so yeah, I can't get anything there. With the double knee joint that can bend up that far to the back, so very close to kicking his butt. If you bend the ankle there, he will kick his butt, so very good for that. And then down to the ankle can rock back and forth and twist side to side with the toe joint on the end. So the pretty standard McFarlane joints, so we'll see similar joints over and over and over again today, but he works out pretty good range of movements and everything, so no issues with that. But accessory wise, he does come with an extra hand of a grip hand here, so of course we can give him his Eskrima stick, so we have that we can put into his hands. But this hand here that he comes with is a claw hand, so that looks pretty cool. And with that we can give him a heart, so as I mentioned, he rips out Batman's heart, so we have what I assume to be Batman's heart here. So with that hand we can put this heart in it, and he can be holding it like that, so that is pretty crazy. Of course we could even do it where he's like biting into it or something. Very cool that he can hold the heart there like that, so that is awesome. And of course, as I mentioned, with Nightwing we do get his Eskrima sticks, so his sticks, and of course we can stick them in his back, so we can just slide him back here. But I'm going to go ahead and put this other one in his hand since it's somewhat of a grip hand here, so we can put it in his hand like that. And like I said, I can try to work on positioning it so it's like he's biting into the heart or something, but that looks pretty cool. And as usual, they all come with a base, so each character will have that. So there's Nightwing all together now with that heart, his Screamo-6, all of that just looks really cool. And of course we have had a Nightwing before in the past, so same Nightwing as this on the same body. So I got this Nightwing. Of course it doesn't match color wise. This was one I could find easily. This is the more newer release of Nightwing. But yeah, pretty much the body is going to be exactly the same. You can see just different blue colors on this one and no blood, and obviously not the vampire head. And finally we get the card. So there's a nice picture from him. I love that artwork on there. So from DC versus vampires, and if we flip it around, of course his name is Dick Grayson. And it says vampires are hunting on the streets of Gotham City as the coming undead plague makes its first move. Batman's investigation into the disappearance of Andrew Bennett takes him into the sewers beneath the Hall of Justice, where he makes a stunning discovery. And of course that's where they find out Nightwing is the actual king of the vampires. So very cool to get this. Of course now that we have him, we can bring in our other vampire characters. So here he is with Batman and Damian as the vampire versions there as well. So building out the Bat family in the vampire forms is pretty cool there. So awesome addition to add Nightwing in with the rest of those. And next up we have the Cassandra Cain version of Batgirl, which is the fourth Batgirl. She was born from two assassins and trained from birth to be the ultimate weapon and not to speak. So instead she was taught to read people's movements and body language to predict their thoughts and movements with high accuracy during fights. And she eventually learned that what her father did was wrong and she ran away. And years later she would become an agent for Oracle. And after saving Commissioner Gordon's life from her own father, Batman offered her the Batgirl costume, becoming a member of the Bat family. So we have her here in the Batgirl. Of course, it's going to look a little different from our normal Batgirl costumes, but overall still looks pretty good. You know, still has the bat-like design, so looks like Batman, but on a female body. So all black here, and of course with her not speaking or anything, they have her mouth covered. I always think that's a cool feature of the Cassandra Cain version. So that's the mouthpiece like attached on there, covered up, since she doesn't really need that. But it's weird that the eyes are all blacked out, but she still has the cowl there with the bat ears on him. And of course that comes down into the cape, where we do get a fabric cape on here, and it does have a metal wire in it, so you can, you know, get it out into different positions, like have the wings spread wide. And of course the fabric material, so the cheaper material, not the best thing ever, but still looks pretty nice. And then it's got the cutouts on it like Batman does as well. And then we get the all black spandex suit, so we get the bat on her chest. So I love how it's like this darker gray color with the yellow outlining. That looks good, but black all down the arms, down the midsection. She's got a belt around the waist, utility belt there in yellow. Looks like a little bit of bat design, and then the pockets that go around there. Of course she's got the gauntlets with the spikes on it, very similar to Batman, and then the black legs all the way down to the black boots again with the black cutouts at the top of those, and then some spikes coming off the back there as well. So overall I think that looks pretty cool. So awesome to finally get Cassandra Cain. But for movements, we get that'll twist all the way around. She can look down that far and up that far. So again, not the best movements ever. The shoulders will come up to 90 with that butterfly joint back and forth and rotate around. We get a bicep twist and the double elbow joint that can bend all the way up on itself. And then the wrist will twist around and hinge on the ball joint. Looks like there it is, hinging back and forth. Then we get the ab crunch under the chest, so crunch back and forth and can twist around. And then at the waist, crunch back and forth, very little, but can also twist around. Then the hips will come up to that far, so we have pretty much 90 out to the side, closer to doing the splits. Pretty much no thigh twist on her. Double knee joint, that'll bend up that far back, again, pretty much kicking her butt. And then we get the foot that'll rock back and forth, can twist side to side, and has the toe joint on the end. So designed almost exactly like Nightwing, has pretty much all the same movements there. So overall works out pretty good. And it's awesome just with this cape, like I said, that you can sort of bend it around, get it in whatever position you want to have it, like blowing in the wind, maybe off to the side or something like that would be cool. But I like always just having like her arms out and having this spread out, so it's like she's flying or something like that. That's pretty cool as well. So I like that they added the cape with the wire, so you can do different stuff with it. Of course the wire is a little bit too long, so it comes down below her feet, so if you want to stand her, you do have to curl it up a little so it's not on the ground. And so for accessories, we do get the standard bat character weapon. So first we get a bat grapple, so the little gun design with the cord shooting out with the grappling hook on the end, so we can put that into her hand. So there she's got the grapple gun, and then she also comes with a battering, but like the old ones, it's a much thicker battering there in the goldish yellow color, so we can put it in her hand. But like I said, it always just looks so big and weird and awkward, so it's always going to be hard to get it into her hand properly to get it to stick. So I can really only get it to stick like that in her hand. So fortunately, never the best things with those batterings, because they always make them way too big. And she of course comes with the stand to put her on. So there's Cassandra Cain all put together now with her accessories. Of course I never really like this stuff because the bat grapples, you know, stick stick out way too far, so always in the way with that. And then the batarangs are always way too big, so never really works out the best. But I think she looks very cool, so the figure's awesome. And of course, this is another version of Batgirl, obviously not the Barbara Gordon version, but we do have the Barbara Gordon version of Batgirl here. So again, different iterations of Batgirl like they have with Robin. So we got the two different forms here. So awesome to add another Batgirl to the group. And then of course we get her card. So there's a picture of her from Batgirls as it's labeled. So it looks pretty awesome with the rope and everything on there. And of course on the back we know that her name is Cassandra Cain. And it says Cassandra Cain debuted during the No Man's Land saga. She stalked Earthquake, shattered Gotham City like a solitary silent ghost, enforcing Batman's laws as the fourth Batgirl. Upon officially joining the Batman family, her training was reading, writing, and social interaction, not combat. When she learned the world's greatest serial killer, Lady Shiva Wusan, was her mother, Cassandra briefly led the League of Assassins before being legally adopted by Bruce Wayne. So that's a cool backstory leading her into the Bat family. And speaking of Bat family, let's go and add her in with the rest of them. So there's Cassandra with the rest of our Bat family. So very cool to add her in how with the rest of all our different Bat characters. So overall an awesome figure to add into our collection now. And next up, we have the Flash, but the Wally West version. And so when Wally West was young, he went to visit his Aunt Iris West at the CSI lab in Central City Police Department, where he was doused in chemicals and struck by lightning, just like Barry Allen had to become the Flash. And so he gained the powers of the Speed Force, eventually becoming the sidekick of the Flash, known as Kid Flash. But after Barry sacrificed himself during the crisis on Infinite Earths, Wally took up the mantle as the Flash. So that's what we have here with him as the Flash. And overall looks cool. Of course, this body design we've had multiple times already with other versions of the Flash and Wally, just a little bit different, with the helmet design and stuff. But overall looks decent, just looks like pretty much your basic Flash. The only difference is like his face design, which kind of is weird and like creepy to me, where he's got like the black around his eyes, which, makes me think it's like an evil version, but it's, just supposed to be Wally. So don't like that too much. And then like his weird, like almost Jokerish smile with like the dark lips or whatever, just again feeds into the evilness. So I always think this is an evil version of Flash, but no, it's just supposed to be Wally West as Flash. But the rest of the costume looks good with the red helmet, with the gold wings coming off the side of his head, the all red spandex, of course, with the Flash logo on his chest, lightning bolts around his underwear, gloves, and then top of his boots, with the yellow boots on his feet and red everywhere else. But this is that older body we've had multiple times, so it's got the nice texture running all through with different design stuff, so it makes it that much more modern design. But for movements, get the head that'll twist all the way around. Can look down that far and up that far. So again, probably even worse movements for him. Then the shoulders come up to 90 with the butterfly joint and rotate around. We get the bicep twist and the double elbow joint that'll bend again all the way up on itself, with the wrist that'll twist around and hinge back and forth. Then we get the upper ab crunch, so crunch back and forth and twist around, lower crunch and twist. Then we get the hips that come up to 90, out to the side, again, pretty much doing the splits. Very little thigh twist on him, but the double knee joint that bends up that far to the back, not far from kicking his butt. And then the foot will flex back and forth, twist side to side, and has the toe joint on the end. So once again, the exact same movement, so nothing new or different to look at here. But for accessories, the only thing we really get with him is that he comes with a lot of the lightning effects. So lightning we can put all over him, which I always hate this sort of stuff. So I probably won't put it on him, but obviously you just clip on his arms and legs. So the shorter ones go on his arms, the longer ones go on his legs. So you can have it like he's running and the electricity's coming off of him. And as usual, we get the base to put him on. So nothing too exciting for him. Like I said, he just looks like Flash. So we've had it multiple times, like I said, with this body specifically, and we've had other Wallys in this design. But speaking of Wally West, we can have our original Kid Flash version of Wally West. So we got this one not too long ago. So this was from the Crisis on Infinite Earths line with the monitor wave. So it looks very nice there with that nice classic design. And then of course we have a more modern style Wally, again in this exact same costume, just the head and everything's obviously different, but that's what he looks like in that same design there. So very cool to see the combination in between the two. And then we get his cards. There's a nice picture of him from the Flash Dawn of DC. I love that costume design on there. But on the back we have that it is Wally West. And it says his name is Wally West. He's the fastest man alive. From Kid Flash to the Flash, from accidental killer to pilot of Metron's Mobius chair, Wally West has lived one of the strangest lives of any speedster, traversing multiple planes of existence just to find his way back home. So that's more an overall all-encompassing story of Wally. But overall, pretty cool. And with him as the Flash now, we can bring our normal Barry Allen version of the Flash. So we have the two versions of the Flash there of Wally West now to go along with Barry. So very cool to get this Wally West version of Flash. Of course, we won't really use it for anything, because if we really need anything, we'll probably just use this Barry Allen version. But it's still really cool to get Wally in the Flash costume. And finally, we have the rival, whose real name is Edward Claris. He was the former university chemistry professor of Jay Garrick, and he believed he had recreated the formula that created Garrick's power, but he was rejected by all of the scientific community, so he turned to a life of crime wearing a darker version of the Flash outfit, but his formula only worked temporarily and was easily defeated when it would run out, and he would eventually join the Injustice Society. So, of course, with that formula, it made him a Speed Force conduit. So we got superhuman speed, agility, and reflexes, as well as accelerated healing, phasing, and vortex creation. So pretty much all the same powers as the Flash. But looks pretty cool here. Of course, this is the pretty much the exact same body as the other Jay Garrick we've had that I will show to you. Just a little minor differences, like I said, darker colors. So it's got the darker red, darker blue, and yellow is about the same. You know, I'd say it's a little bit darker shade of yellow. Could be brighter, but overall looks the same. But then we get the face there. So I love how it's got the like dark shadowing up on the upper half of his face with like the lightning coming out of his eyes. That looks pretty cool. But he also has like this big jokerish smile, so definitely going to be a villain there. And then he's got like the World War helmet or whatever it is on there with the wings coming off the side in gold and silver. And I like how that's got some detail on it, so that is different, at least for the Jay I'm going to show you. And his hair there, and then of course his costume that, like I said, is the exact same as the Jay Garrick we've already had. And then his boots are more of a brown, really dark red to brown. Looks brown to me with the wings coming off the side there as well. So overall looks cool. You know, it does look like a different version of Jay Garrick, just an evil version, maybe a Joker version of him, but it is supposed to be a whole different character known as the rival. But for movements, the head will twist all the way around. He can look down that far and up that far. So again, not the best movements at all. Shoulders can come up to 90 with the butterfly, you know, barely moves on him. Rotates around. We get the bicep twist and the double elbow joint that bends, you know, again, pretty much all the way up on itself. Wrist will twist around and flex on the ball joint. Then we get the ab crunch under the chest, crunch back and forth and twist around. And then at the waist, crunch and twist around. Hips will come up to 90, out to the side, not far from doing the splits. A little bit of a thigh twist again, but the double knee joint that'll bend up that far to the back, so not as close to kicking his butt. And then we get the foot that'll flex back and forth and can twist side to side and has the toe joint on the end. So yeah, pretty much the same movement. So every figure was almost the same. Now, accessory-wise, he does come with a number of hands, so we do get a set of fist hands, so he's got the two flat hands for running there, and then we do also have hands that are reaching out, so you could sort of pose him up like he's chasing after somebody in the Speed Force, reaching out to grab him, and then we do also get the lightning effects, but in this blue color, so look nice, but again, I hate these lightning effects even more, because they're always hard to get on him, so again, won't be putting that, but you just put him on his arms and legs to give him the effect, and we get the base to pop him on. So there's the rival posed up a little. As I mentioned, he's the enemy of Jay Garrick. So here we have our Jay Garrick figure that, you know, body-wise is going to be exactly the same. They just changed the colors a bit. And like I said, they did change his helmet. So I don't know if this is from that more modern Jay Garrick that we got, if he had that helmet instead of this normal flat one. But either way, those two go together now as the two enemies there. So they look pretty good together like that. And finally, we have his card. So there's the rival from Injustice Society. So it does just look like a darker version of Jay there. And on the back, as I said, his name is Edward Claris. And it says Edward Claris was Jay Garrick's chemistry professor at Midwestern University. Claris somehow managed to replicate the hard water formula that gave Jay his super speed. For a brief time afterward, Claris took the identity of the rival, a sort of reverse Flash, hell-bent on destroying the Golden Age Flash. The formula eventually wore off and Jay was able to subdue the rival, but months later, Claris's powers returned and he broke out of prison. Jay gave chase, but the rival ran so fast he ran himself out of existence and lost to the Speed Force. So that's a little bit better explanation of him there. So overall, pretty cool. Like I said, it is a reuse of the figure once again, just minor changes with the darker colors and of course that head with the weird smile and the lightning eyes and stuff, which is cool. But overall, it's just the same figure once again. Well, that's it for our DC Multiverse Gold Label exclusive figures, where we got the Vampire Nightwing, Cassandra, Cain, Batgirl, Wally West Flash, and the Rival. So a lot of these are pretty cool. It's awesome to get Nightwing to go along with the rest of our vampires, and with him being the main vampire of the story, it's awesome to finally get him, and really cool. He comes with Batman's heart. Getting Cassandra Cain, for me at least, is always important to add her to the Bat family, so I'm glad they finally made her in a figure. Wally West Flash I could do without. You know, it's not like we really need him. Like I said, for me, Barry's always the Flash, and he's always Kid Flash, so not a necessary form, but it is cool just to have him. And then the rival isn't necessary either. It's just, I guess, if you want an evil version of Flash, he's good to go along with Jake Garrick, but otherwise don't really need him, but he still is pretty cool. So not a bad set of figures here at all. I'm happy with all of these figures, but like I said, as usual, we could easily skip out on most of these. But let me know your opinions of these four down in the comments, and if you enjoyed my review, let me know with a thumbs up, and don't forget hit the subscribe button to see more. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.